Hello and welcome to the Wealthy Trade Special Earnings Alert video. This is Tyson Clayton. It is April 29th, 2015. It's about 2:15 right now, and I wanted to make a video because I want this to be clear. This is a trade that I am looking to do in Baidu, and I use a proprietary filter. This is exclusive to Wealthy Trade's proprietary filter based on the historical responses over the last four or so earnings periods, and then taking an algorithm based on the lowest and then projecting how far something should move. Now, here's the thing. There's a lot of traders out there that say you should never, ever trade during earnings. And for the most part, most people shouldn't trade during earnings because they don't know what they're doing, okay? But we at wealthytrades.com, we're probability. We're all about putting the odds in your favor, in our favor, and trading when we have an edge. And this is how we trade options. This is how we trade earnings, and it's very, very powerful. Here's what we do. This is kind of a secret view into what I do and how I find my moves. First of all, they have to meet certain requirements. I'm not going to go into all the details. It'll be part of that options course that we have. They have to meet certain requirements based on the last earnings response. They have to meet certain volatility requirements, different things like that. But what I do is I figure out what the last four earnings are going to be, and I have a calculated algorithm to project what I think the next upcoming move will be. For example, in Baidu, all right, so Baidu is currently traded at $219.62, thereabouts right now at 2:15 today. And the at-the-money call, so the closest to the at-the-money call using options, is trading at $220. Well, right now it's priced at about $5.30. Well, I don't know if that's fair or overvalued or undervalued, but the nice thing about trading earnings is we have history to tell us how far something should move. And what I've done is, again, we've created an algorithm that we're going to base a class around that comes up with what we feel is a projected move or should be the fair move. And in Baidu, the fair move is 6.54%. Okay, so 6.54%, if I bust out my calculator, my handy calculator, based on current price, if we closed right now, and let's say that we move higher, right? So earnings are essentially, it's almost a 50-50 proposition. We have some algorithms that give us a slight edge, maybe a 2 or 3% edge, but let's just say it's a 50-50 proposition, right? It's kind of a crapshoot, really. Nobody really knows which way it's going to move, and it can move either up and down. Well, we do know that it should move at least 6.54%, right? Either direction, up or down. So what I want to do is I want to take current price, all right, 219.62 times, you know, that percentage move that we're expecting. So if it does move up 6.54%, Baidu should move up to about $233.98. So I'm going to put $233.98. Okay, so that's where it should move up to. If it does, okay, so get this. This is how we figure out whether something's undervalued or overvalued based on the projected move that we've come up with. Well, think about this. If the 220 call is trading at $5.30, is that undervalued or overvalued? And let's just assume a 50-50 proposition, right? Go up or down. It's like a coin flip. Well, here's the thing. We're saying it's going to move to $233.98. We buy the 220 call, which means we have the right to buy at 220. And that means that if it does hit the expected move we want to hit, our target, we would make our call that we bought for $5.30 would be worth $13.98. Well, that sounds pretty good because think about this. We bought it for $5.30. It's now worth, if we hit our target, $13.98. Therefore, we made a profit of $8.68. We, again, use our proprietary filters to find the best plays to give us an edge to a directional bias. We always take a directional bias, typically a flat directional bias, and buy undervalued options, whether it's puts or calls. Most of the time I have an edge to the upside simply because there is a slight positive, slight, ever so slight higher percentage on the positive responses. The negative responses on earnings, it's very, very minimal. It's about 0.5% historically, so it's very minimal. But any edge I can get, I want. And then we add some other things to that calculation to give us even a better edge to have a positive response. But long story short, think about this. We're going to take a trade on the upside. We're going to say Baidu we're thinking it's going to go up. Maybe it's going to go down. But we're willing to take this trade because based on our proprietary filters, we're saying that it should move 6.54%. Up or down. If it does move 6.54% and we buy this call for $5.30, well, we just turned $5.30 into $13.98, meaning we made $8.68. That's a phenomenal trade. The other proprietary things that we do is we come up with the way we filter these and don't take every trade, every earnings play out there. First of all, not every play is undervalued. In fact, they don't come. I mean, when they come along, they're great. But you got to look for them. We also want to make sure that we have a potential for upside surprise. So we want to know that this projected move, it has the potential for even greater moves than that. What I mean by, let's look at Baidu. What if it moves, three earnings ago, it moved 11%. So what if it moved 11% this time? Let's think about this. If it moves 11% this time, it moves up to 243.77. Well, we bought the 220 call. That means our call went from $5.30 to $23.77. Now we're not betting on that. We're not saying that that's for sure going to happen, or we're not saying that that's going to happen. But what we want to do is we want to make sure, yes, we have opportunities for upside surprise, and we also want to make sure that the lowest move that it's had over the last 4 earnings is not below. We do a projection, and that's not too low because we don't want to. If we do get a move in our direction, we want to make sure that our projected move is at least what the move's going to be. So what I mean is, if Baidu moves down, then you know what? We lose the trade. But if Baidu moves up, what I want to know is I want to know that almost certainty, not 100% certainty, but I want to know there's a very high probability that's going to move up at least 6.54%. So that is our earnings plays. So this is a play that I'm going to actually be doing today. I'm going to buy the Baidu 220 call for $5.30 or less. All right, and I'm going to probably buy this within the next 10-15 minutes. It's about 220. My target's going to be $13.98. Okay, so I'm risking the 530. I'm willing to risk the entire thing to make $8.68 because it'll be worth $13.8. Now, I want to show you this, show you the power of this. Okay, so over the course of a quarter, I typically play between 30 and 50 earnings plays. So over the course of a year, there'll be anywhere from 100 to 200 plays. But let's just do the math on this. Let's say I took this same trade, this exact same trade, 100 times. All right, and let's say I was only right 40% of the time, and I'm wrong 60% of the time. And when I'm wrong, I lose the entire thing. Okay, so it's actually kind of unrealistic. But let's say that when I'm wrong, I lose the entire thing, and I'm right 40% of the time. And when I'm right, I make my target. That's what we're going to say. So I'm risking $530 because it's 530 and it's $530 a contract. My profit potential is, if we hit our target, is $8.68, right? So $8.68. So here's the thing. What I know is I'm going to make this $8.68 40 times. If I'm right only 40 times, that means over the course of 100 trades, I'll have a profit of $34,720. But I'm going to lose the $530, all right, 60 times, which means I'm going to lose $31,800. But the difference between the two, this is only on a one contract basis, the difference between the two over the 100 trades, I will be up $2,920 per contract. Now think about this. What if you risk $1,000 per trade? And I know this is not rounded, but you risked $1,000 per trade, and this is just making it easy. Means you could do 1.88 or 1.89 contracts. If you take that, how many contracts you can do times the profit per contract over 100 trades, the annual profits would be $5,590 on this trade. Okay, and here's the thing. I do more than 100 trades per year. I do about 150 to 200 trades. Now get this. What if I'm right 45% of the time? Well, look at this. Now it takes the yearly profits to $13,698. What if, better than that. What if we're 50-50? Because remember, we said earnings are 50-50. What if we're 50-50? Well, here's the thing. If we're 50-50 on this type of trade, then the yearly profit potential is up to $31,000, risking $1,000 per trade. It's absolutely phenomenal. This is how I do my trade. So Baidu, I'm going to buy the 220 call for $5.30. I'm willing to risk the entire trade, entire 530. My overall target is going to be $13.98. That means I'm looking to make a profit of $8.68, and I'm risking $5.30 And again, I probably have about a 50-50 probability. That's the trade I want to take every time. I've got one more trade today, and that's in Yelp. Very similar. Yelp's trading at about 51.50 right now. The at the money call is 51.50. It's trading for $3.15. Based on the historical moves, the projected move that Wealthy Trades came up with is 15.83%. Okay. So if we get that move, I can buy, again, the 51.50 call right now, this week's call, for $3.15. Well, if we get a positive move, and I'm going to buy the calls, if we get a positive move in the direction, in a positive direction, an up direction, then I believe we're going to move 15.83%. If we do, that means that the call, all right, the call is going to be worth $8.15. Now, how do I come up with that? Well, it's trading at 51.50, and if it moves 15.836%, that means it's going to move up to 59.65. Well, 59.65 minus my 51.50 call, again, it's $8.15. Well, what does that mean? Well, if it moves up to my target of $8.15, that means I made a profit of $5 because I bought it for $3.15. It's now worth $8.15. My profit is $5. Let's look at this math again. If I'm right 40% of the time on this trade, I'm risking $300 per contract, so it's $3 per contract, and my profit potential on this is $5. So $500. And if I'm right 60% of that, 40% of the time, then I'm going to make $500 40% of the time, and I'm going to lose $300 60% of the time. Overall, if I did $1,000 per contract, I would do 3.33 contracts, $3,333 at a 40% probability. But if we are 50-50, which these are about 50-50 proposition trades, then our profitability goes up even higher, and the calculation must be a little off on that. But anyway, this is the trade I'm going to do. I'm going to buy the at the money 51.50 calls in Yelp for $3 and actually probably about $3.20 or less. And I'm going to do the Baidu. And these are both this week's. I'm going to buy the Baidu 220 calls for $5.30 or less. My target in Baidu is going to be $13.98. My target in Yelp is going to be $8.15. This is the way you trade earnings. You find an edge. And here's the thing. This could be a low probability trade. We can win only 35-40% of the time and still make a tremendous amount of money because we have an edge based on the proprietary calculations and algorithms that Wealthy Trades does. This is the way we trade. This is the way we trade earnings. And this is kind of the way we trade everything, based on probabilities and putting the edges in our favor. It doesn't mean it's going to work today or tomorrow or even next week, but over time, this is the way professionals trade. Put an edge in your favor and continue to do it. That's the way casinos make a ton of money. Okay, get the edge, place the trade every time you have the edge, and continue to place the trade systematically. All right, thank you for your time. Let me know if you have any questions. Email me at info@wealthytrades.com. Thank you.